Eriwoya! Greetings to all devotees and initiates. Welcome into the recap of the Ifa reading of the year. Ashe. So before we go any further, if you are new to this channel, my name is Daydream Alston, aka Oyabunmi. I'm an initiated Orisha priestess. I am an intuitive messenger and a visionary. Here on my channel, The Divine Mind, you'll find Ifa-Orisa related content like we're discussing today, content around spiritual development and personal growth, and tarot readings. If that sounds good to you, feel free to subscribe and don't forget to hit that notification bell. You can check out the official reading document on my website. The link will be in the description box and the comments below. So, every June, an Odu is pulled in honor of the Yoruba New Year. This Odu Ifa provides a glimpse into what will transpire throughout the year for the entire world. So some of it speaks of things that will happen locally in Yoruba land, but it also gives messages for those of us throughout the world, okay? This year's Odu Ifa is Irosun Osa, and it came with Ire Aiku. We should be celebrating that. Ire Aiku means good fortune of long life. And it is said in order to obtain this blessing of long life, devotees and initiates are encouraged to make ebo. Ebo is sacrifice. And throughout the reading, you see, dozens of ebo prescriptions. You would go to your Baba or Iya and figure out if any of those apply to you, what you should do, what you need to do, things like that. I want to go over today some of the points that stood out to me throughout the reading, okay? Make sure you stick around to the end because I'll be sharing the taboos and then I'm going to do a prayer for all of us who are listening, okay? So fire is going to be a huge theme overall this year. We'll probably hear lots about fires, big fires like the one that, as I'm speaking, is happening in Canada, and the smoke is impacting the Northeast, even further down the coast of the United States. So we'll be hearing things like that, maybe even explosions. We'll have to be mindful of fires in our personal lives, right? In our homes, in our places of business. And this is especially important for initiates. If you were warned in your initiation reading about a fire possibly breaking out in your home or destroying your home, if you've been warned about that in readings, Ifa readings throughout time, this is one of those years where you want to be on the lookout, be very, very careful, and maybe even do ebo to guard against fire. Okay, so in addition to it being what I consider to be a hot Odu, we also are going to need to focus a lot on our Oris, keeping our Oris cool and calm, working with our Ori, venerating our Ori. It's important to focus on character this year as well, because like I said, there's like a hotness that comes with this. So things can be heightened and you're going to need to approach things carefully. I also got this feeling of fanning the flames, being careful of fanning the flames and making things worse, blowing things up, making them bigger than they need to be, okay? This Odu speaks of enemies, right? But I feel like that comes up all the time, every year. And there's also a need to work with our Oris to drive away, and our other deities and supports to drive away negative spirits, because there is the energy of negativity that comes with this as well. Okay, so some of the things that stood out throughout the document was that we can actually work with our ancestors this year for prosperity. So if you're someone who's been struggling with finances, right? Say you felt stagnant and bogged down or blocked, you can have a breakthrough this year by working with your ancestors. And there are Ebo prescriptions in the document that you can see if that applies to your situation. But ancestral support is big with this Odu. It talks about working with Iyami, the mothers of the night, for those who have been blocked by enemies. So that's something that you can do. And again, this is stuff you find out, you confirm with your Baba or Iya to make sure this applies to you, because not every point they brought up applies to your situation, okay? I did notice a verse that talked about mistreatment by leaders and misuse and abuse of authority. And it's interesting because I've been feeling that, and I've been seeing that in my own like readings, the tarot readings that I do for the collective. I keep getting this sense of misuse and abuse by people in authority. And it is said that we can work with Ifa and Ori to overcome that mistreatment this year. Reminding you again that appeasement of your Ori is very important this year. But when you appease Ori, you need to stay home that day. Stay away from the market. If you can stay home, right? Do not go out after appeasing your Ori. Definitely don't go to any crowded areas. But I would suggest maybe if you can't commit to staying home, treat your head, do your offerings to your head before you go to bed so that you're doing it overnight, okay? Words will have great power this year, so watch what you say, okay? You're going to have to avoid negative utterances because these words will come to pass. So you could inadvertently burden yourself or curse yourself or other people. So you're going to have to watch out for that. Collaboration is important this year and is needed for progress. Like, this is not the year to go it alone, to do everything on your own and to feel like you got this. You want to make sure these are trustworthy collaborators, but you want to collaborate and work with others. And Ifa said that you can actually make ebo for helpers to come forward, so that you can align with these people that will help you to exceed and excel. And the same thing for business owners. I know how tough it can be having a business, but Ifa is saying that you can make ebo to support the growth and prosperity of your business. Stay close to Ifa for protection. I've also heard that being grounded this year, being very steady, balanced, moderate in your behaviors, in your drinking, can also keep you safe, protected. I loved this particular verse. It talked of having victory over those who conspire against, groups of people, right? So say a government is conspiring, an organization, one of these big corporations is conspiring. There's victory over the conspirators this year. Ashe. I look forward to that. We're being encouraged in this Odu Ifa to appease Shango Kabiesi to overcome enemies. Also can appease Oshun or Yeyeo for popularity and children, okay? It's also important to note that pregnant women should make ebo for easy delivery this year. So if you are pregnant and, as you get closer to your due date, Ifa says, go get an Ifa reading. Do your ebo, follow the prescriptions so that you can have an easy birth. And what we might see is people who are pregnant out in the world who, don't really mess with this tradition. We might see people having really tough deliveries. Might see a trend of that. I hope not. So this was a very important point. Ifa says that he's peeped that we have fallen off when it comes to our veneration of our Orisha. He says that he sees we've been missing our Oshays. We haven't been doing our worship days of our Orisha. So if you are an initiate, right? You're initiated into a particular Orisha, you have the icon in your home. It's very important that you keep to your Oshay schedule. You should be going every 5 days to your Orisha to work with them, to honor them. And it was very clear in the verse that we should do that with singing, dancing, and merriment. So you want to go in with high energy. If you're not sure of how to venerate your Orisha, I suggest picking up my ebook. One is called the Obi Inarugbo Divination Handbook. It's an ebook that goes through the process of using kola nut to divine with your Orisha and feed your Orisha. I also have the Odu Ifa Practice Handbook and online training. In addition to the excitement, the singing, the dancing, the merriment, right? You also want to give your Orisha their favorite food this year. So there's it's time to take it up a notch with your Orisha. So because I'm initiated into Oya, I know that it's important this year that I make her favorite foods. I know that it's important that I sing and dance and raise the vibration when I go to sit with her during my Oshays. Like I just know, okay, these are the things I have to do. Which is fine with me because I like having a party with my Oya anyway. Ifa also is encouraging devotees to initiate into Ifa this year to attain greatness. So if you feel like you've been held back or you haven't been living up to your full potential, Ifa says come on through and get an initiation, and that can help. It's also said that Ifa initiates specifically must control their tempers and their temperaments this year. They have to be as balanced and grounded as possible. Another thing that stood out to me is it said that Isheshe will witness a great influx of devotees this year. So that means that we'll have more people coming into the tradition, which is really awesome. Now, we have to be mindful of our relationships under Irosun Osa. So under this energy, it's important that we maintain healthy relationships. This can be with our spouses and with our friends. So you want to avoid fight and behavior that leads to breakups. Breakups will cause really great loss this year, not just for one party. Both parties will suffer loss. And it's important to avoid that. Avoid infidelity. Infidelity can actually lead to death, sexually transmitted diseases. Just there's great loss around messing up our relationships. But this also talks about avoiding the breaking up of friendships. You want to really strive to keep your relationships as healthy as possible. Do not befriend the enemies of your friends or spouses. So if you have somebody, right, that you're close to, but that person has an enemy and the enemy befriends you, or something happens where you and the enemy come together, we're being encouraged to stay away from that enemy. Even if it's not our enemy, if it's the enemy of someone close to us, we should stay away from them. And my favorite of all of the points made by Ifa was that women are going to be lifted up this year, and it's encouraged that women be lifted up this year, that we take on leadership positions and we stand in our full power and regalia, and it says make ebo to oya of hen or goat to make this happen. Epa oya, hey oya. So women are going to carry great roles this year. Now, this also means that the men in our families and in our community should be lifting us up as well, supporting us in being those leaders. There should be no envy about this. Like, we should be lifted up. But at the same time, women have to avoid abusing power, right? Because then it just it confirms that oh, well, women shouldn't be running things because they're too emotional or because they abuse power. So we need to be very balanced, okay? Let's go over the taboos and the Orisha for the year. The taboos of the year: do not eat snake. I know I ain't got to worry about that one. Do not play with fire. Do not break up relationship. Do not miss your Orisha weekly day worship. Okay, if you can help it, do not miss that. The Orisha of the year are Shango, Oya, Ori, Oshun, Egbe Orun, Obatala, Ogun, and Eshu. Ashe. So before I close, I want to invite you to drop an ashe down below in the comments to confirm that you are looking forward to the long life, the array of long life that Ifa has promised us if we do what we need to do, okay? Let me close with a prayer. I greet the Most High Creative Intelligence, the Great Spirit, the Great Mystery, the Cosmic Mother and Father of creation, the great creative force within which we have our being. I greet the deities, the aspects of nature, the primordial beings, the elemental energies and forces that all serve under that great creative force. I greet all of your Oris, everyone watching this today. I greet your Ori with love. I call on the spirit of Ifa, Aboni Regun, Ella the Pure, to come forth and look at his devotees with good eyes and compassion in the coming days, weeks, and months. That this promise of Ire Aiku would fall upon my head, would fall upon the heads of all of you watching today. That we would enjoy the sweetness of life. That we would enjoy all the array of life, the array of long life, the array of good health, array of money, financial prosperity, the array of good spouse, array of good children, array of overcoming our enemies, array of peace. That all the good fortune of life would come rushing into our homes this year and inundate us. That all of us who have felt stuck and blocked and stagnant will receive a refreshing energy, that the winds of change that come with Osa would blow into our lives gently and bring Ire, bring sweetness, joy, uplifted spirits, hope. May all of the Ire that you are meant to have in this lifetime come to you, come to me without delay. Asheo. Check out my website, daydreamaustin.com, to learn more about my offerings. There you'll find tarot readings, Ifa-Orisa related online trainings and ebooks, intensive coaching services where I work with clients one-on-one. Learn more about my Patreon, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Ashe.